Hello, I'm Steve Pendlebury. This is Steve Pendlebury's Vintage Radio Long Stay Repair Workshop, and hi again and welcome back. I've been away with my girlfriend Katie, my fiancée Katie actually, and she's gone back to Ohio and we hope to meet very very soon. So Katie, hi, if you're watching, please say you are. Anyway, have you ever been on eBay and played a game called eBay Chicken? eBay Chicken is a simple thing where you make somebody you don't know pay as much as possible for something by keep bidding and guessing how much they're going to pay. It's a silly game, I know, but people do it, including me. And this one, I happened to lose it, and so the unit in question came here from Oldham, so it wasn't too far, so it wasn't that bad. But anyway, it's here now, and let's take a look at this. This is a tape recorder. As you know, we're very fond of tape recorders around here. And this one is, we hope, going to work for us. It's 3-speed, an amplifier, volume, 2 volume control actually, so I think it might be stereo this actually, this one to record. Input 1. Input 2 and output, okay. So we don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know quite what it's going to be wanting us to do, apart from possibly work. But of course, in this game, I prefer stuff that doesn't. But anyway, I do something which a lot of people, vintage radio people, don't recommend, and that's plugging it in and seeing what it does. And I do that because it gives us a reasonable baseline. See where we're starting from. And so with that in mind, that works okay. It's okay. It's stiff, but they do work. Pause works okay. Then we'll go bomb with, but there we are. Right, okay. So this is this machine is something approaching working, but obviously there's 1 or 2 things wrong with it. And so, first thing I'm going to do is put the tape in it, and this one came with it, so you know it could have anything on this. I don't know. But if it came with the machine, then often it's something which will have something that the machine is recorded on it. So it's certainly worth looking at from that point of view. I don't know whether it's transistorized or valved. I think it's valved actually, because I noticed there's a magic eye there. But whether that is the only valve part of it, I don't know. I really don't know. Actually, the magic eye does actually also help, because if when you switch it to record, it goes off, it comes on, or you know, if it comes on, the HT is doing something on the LT. So it's quite an easy little check that to make on any tape recorder. So that's certainly worth doing. A little bit lucky, you know. Speaker goes on, I think. There you go. And so I think this might be a reasonable time to plug it in and see what it does. Right, well, let's plug it in, shall we, and see what it feels like doing for us. That's okay. That's okay, and I can hear that as well, by the way. Okay, that's okay, yeah. 2 volume controls, like I said, 1 for play and for record. The Magic Eye is working actually, although I think the capacitor, the resistor on the on the back of it has gone up in value because it doesn't come out all the way it should. So that's something which we need to look at and think about. What else? Well, not a lot really. That's does that okay, doesn't it? Okay, right, so oh well, it plays.
Can you give me anything else? You got any woolen? Not a bad dressing gown, is it?
Sounds like step doing some that to me.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's quality. Yeah, that is.
Okay, right, okay, well obviously something is that's holding it there, isn't it? So so therefore we know straight away that it basically works, which it won't in a few minutes. And we got things to say. This lot, the knobs and stuff, that is probably oil and grease. That's easy to sort out. The electronics of it, well, we'll have to see, won't we? So put that back on again, like that. Let's go that way. Turn that down. Pull the tape off. Like that. Oh, right, okay, so what's that one? Probably record that one. Yeah. So now we get the tape, the reels off like that, and like okay, well, fair enough. Well, okay, fair enough. I'll have a closer look at that. So that comes off like that. Okay, that's obviously that works. Okay, so that comes off, and I think the next thing we do is take this top off and see what's underneath it and what we have to do. Which I'll do off camera because I think I'm going to swear. That's one part of the front off, and the buttons again they're a bit different. I think they go underneath as well. So obviously the whole thing comes out. I have to do something with that. The capstan wheel is a little bit worse for wear, but I think I could probably save that with some that's magic spray, you know, the stuff that they use on newspapers actually, on the rollers. I've got some somewhere. Battery resistor there, needs to be changed for the head here, and that is where I've come through now. So now we take this unit off here very quickly. I'll just take the head thing off here. like so. Another one of those. And another one of these. I want to know if it's 2 or 4 track or stereo, this machine. Not the way to check is behind the heads here. Normally, for a 2-track machine, the Truvox, a 4-track machine does 4. So, or stereo machine is also 4. So that looks to me like it's a 2-track. So there we are, that's obviously 2-track, and that too. So obviously that's a 2-track. So now I'll get the top off and we'll look inside. Now with these machines, the instructions in the manual don't tell you everything. First thing you got to do is take off the plug, which I've done, although really I didn't need to have anyway. And then of course, this screws on the side here, which you take out. It's these here. If I put the base up right, through those, and the things will come out. Should. But it won't come out until you've taken the handle off. The handle goes into here. So you don't say that, but you've got to take those off as well. It doesn't say where they are, so go look for those as well. Now at this point you can get through to most everything. The arm circuit obviously is going to come off this way because it's on the back there. The deck, it's under here as well, with 3 motors which are all okay. I know because I've had it on. And next we've got to do is find out whether you take off the motors, of course, which you probably don't, and of course the other bits of stuff on here, which is, if I turn the thing over. Now this piece here, which I was looking at taking off, I don't think it does come off, because there are actually parts of the unit attached to it, so it doesn't actually come off. So basically everything we get is here and underneath here as well. If we turn it round slightly, like that, underneath here and underneath here. So at this point, let's look at sorting out all the various bits and pieces which have gone mouldy or worse, or got bits off, because some did come off in here, which I think I've removed. So at this point now we've got to sort out, first of all, I think I'll sort out the plug, the buttons here, because they work okay, and those two don't. See there, you see. Now this machine has 3 motors, so it's quite a large machine, that sort. Now 3 motor machines are more expensive, they were in the day, but from a repair point of view, they are in fact a lot simpler. So I think the next thing we do is take this off here and look underneath here and see exactly what has gone on to make it not want to play. I did get it to play, but it was very hard work and it stuck completely now. So something under here, something on this deck. The whole deck will again, like all tape recorders, will have to be cleaned and serviced, everything else. That's the next step, I think. But before you do that, I always have a look through and see if there are any obvious faults. That's very, very important. This is one of the units where manual is very important if you've not worked on before, and I admit I haven't. So we're learning together on this. there were 2 screws to come out, and they're from the handle. And with the handle out, most of it just fell away like that. So now the situation we've got now is that unfortunately, we have a tape recorder. It doesn't seem to want to go into playback for reasons known only to itself. Now, in a situation like this, yeah, first you've got to look at is everything suitably lubricated. But in that situation, never put you must never put oil or grease where oil and grease should not go. That's very important, that. If they don't go there, you don't put them there. As simple as that. Anyway, that's working okay there. That switch and that port is okay. That seems to be reasonably okay. But I'll give it a quick spray off anyway, just to make sure that things like that there are okay. So also with things like this, with these actually, the deck is in fact part, this appears to be part of the deck, so this bit doesn't come off, so this is as far as it goes. So basically, I think the first thing we've got to do is look at this switch here as well and find out why it will go if you give it enough. But again, never force anything. I never force anything, because if you force things, you break, and if you break, you're in even more of a mess. So you don't do that either. This key assembly here is a little bit strange. That, of course, held down turns that to record like that. As you can see, that's now in the record position. Okay, that's how that works. Okay, now pass forward. No, that's rewind. Sorry, that's wind. That's wind the other way. That's pass forward, and that's rewind. Yeah. Now, as far as the other thing is concerned, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay. Now it's gone down, no problem at all, as you can hear there, and you can see. But it's still doing it now. But, right, so now it's not. Pull that one down, and again, there it goes. But sometimes it doesn't actually latch, and sometimes it does. That's now, I thought that I'd latched, it's not. Okay, not to worry. Right, so now that is now latched okay onto play quite easily, but it doesn't do it all the time. And with it like that, it will probably be very interesting switching this to record, because you've got to hold that down and that. So we're getting closer. What I've done, I did the whole thing with oil, and also this here, which has a very Ferguson-ish look about it. Remember the Ferguson TRP1 decks. So I bet the problem, if anything, is there. But it seems to be a lot happier now. So again, I don't really know until I look a bit further. But I know that again, it's down straight away. So it's nearly there. What I might do actually is spray it with the 3-in-1 spray oil and leave it overnight and see what that does. You know, it's great sometimes listening to it, how things meant to come off, but those are things that are not meant to come off. You do because you think they come off. First of all, here's the motor diagram. Not all the manual is here, but some of it. The rest of it is on my phone, but very worth having. Although it doesn't place this part of the deck. Don't diagrams for that, so I've just sorted that out myself, which I've done as well as I can for now. Certainly enough to test it with anyway, on the electronic side. This part here doesn't actually need to come off, and so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to put it back on to hold the deck and all the bits and pieces steady. That is basically to hold everything in place, which is something which, you know, it obviously needs. So I'm putting these screws back in now, and hopefully with the deck back in place it will work better still, because I think they hold everything in place, and maybe that will make it function a little bit better. Now electronically, it's this arrangement here is similar to the Roebuck. You know, there's two versions of it, so be careful. That's the 120 volt version, and this version here is the 250 volt version here. Now in this case here, you see, what your difference is, of course, but basically they're the same. So, you know, especially including the offset stop as well, which probably has to be in place as well for it to work properly. But with that in mind, the next thing we do is make sure that these are going properly, and hold everything in properly, because that is the next step. I also took this off as well, looking underneath, and underneath it is all the electronics on the knobs here. And most of the capacitors in it are in fact that start to be getting Philips tape recorders, the things that very rarely fail. So that's very much in my favour as well. So now I'll go and put these back on carefully without saying too many rude words, and then we'll talk about think about putting it on and seeing what it has to say to all, if anything. Got the thing together again on the top there and plugged in. Before we go any further, let's have a quick look at the motor section. Outer stop when it's fitted is there, yeah. And for the mains, one end goes to all the motors, there, and there. There's your forward and rewind, and here's your play motor here. Okay, now then, when you press start, that goes down to there, so it goes from there to there, and also via 2 microfarad capacitor, motor start capacitor, it goes to there. So that's probably might be a problem, might not, but these motors do require a capacitor to start them up, so that's what that one is. Anyway, so with that in mind, I'll take that out of the way like that, and we'll start it up, shall we? Like that. Like that. I'll just get the camera so I can have a look better. Hang on. There you are. Now at that point now, that's on playback. 3 3/4 IPS. Looks okay. That's fast forward. That's rewind, and that goes to playback. But going to 7.5, and it stops dead. this could be due to a number of things, some simple, some not so. Hopefully it will be something simple, I hope, because if it's not, well, you know, it isn't, you know. So those are still going, but well, this section here isn't. Now also on this control there's an amp setting as well, so my initial feeling here is this control go to 3 3/4 IPS. There it is, doing something anyway. I don't know, I think that's fairly accurate actually, because early on I played some of that tape through it, which is tape that came with it. So at this point now, I'll get the tape, put the tape on the machine. Please, come on. Got to go whether I like it or not, so it's going to go on. There we go. It goes on there like that. Okay. It goes on there like that. Okay. And this one, of course, goes on the supply reel over here, which is, I think, which is this one here. Thank you very much. Much easier that, won't it? Right. Anyway, so we set it up in the usual way for machines like this. You know, this is a good tape, this actually. So you might. So I might, well, if this tape hasn't got anything on it, I might use it for something which I want to keep, you know. So in it goes, like that. Notice my bad threading. Don't do that, by the way, but this is just for test, so, you know, do as I say, not as I do. And there it is at 3 3/4, and again it's 1 7/8, there's nothing there. That's fast forward, which you can see is running rate of problem. You're getting that really fast actually, isn't it? I wish BSI decks was as fast, I tell you. Actually, I had a studio deck once, a Colonel studio deck, which actually went so fast it actually made some awful noises. And my friend is actually breaking the same barrier, so it's amazing what these things can do sometimes. Anyway, that's going this way okay, so at some point soon we stop it. Like so. I think you need some brakes. And we go this way as well. Rewind. Look at that. That's quite something, that, isn't it? By the way, another thing at this point, by the way, if you're putting a 5-inch reel of tape on one of these, use a 5-inch take up as well. If you always use the same tap, otherwise the pull can sometimes make it unbearable for the tape. Harvey recently had the Beatles tape, and he ran it through the 4-inch reel on one side and 7-inch on the other, and it nearly cut the tape. Kid you not? So always, you know, always think about that. There we are. Off you come. And come on. And off you come as well, with a bit of help if needed, okay. Okay, storm there, they're not too fussed right now. So anyway, all we've got to look at with this now is why on play this stops. These don't, but this here does. And if I was to now pull that back like that, that plate, that still goes, yeah? No, on 7.5, it doesn't. Can you see that? Just there, it doesn't. And so, whether the motor's running or not, at this stage, I don't know. But having said that, if it's not, then I will go for the charger capacitor, and yeah, because the playback and record motor for here is the only one that's not got one, so that is probably the one that's doing all these various bits and pieces to us. So next thing, why doesn't it play on 7.5? Let's see, shall we? Let's see. Right, now with any fault of this kind, the first thing we're going to do is look at the right way up, there you are. Look at the motor circuit diagram, which is here. And seeing that it works okay on 3 3/4 and not on 7.5, really means that all the motors are okay, because there's no switch here on here anywhere for the speed control, none. So therefore we need to look in considerable detail at what happens when it comes on and goes off. Now this here, with it on like that, you see, there you are. That's cool, that's fine, yeah. That isn't. That is, that isn't, okay. Now we know therefore the motor works okay. So we've got to look rather more closely at the deck mechanic to find out why it's working on one speed rather than the other. Now it's this control here, yeah, and that goes through here like that, and this goes through, and they're okay there, okay, that's fine. So it's probably not going to be there. That's probably going to be biased for the heads or something of that nature. So again, that's not something we need to worry about. But if we go underneath, however, and see what happens underneath here. Here's the thing from underneath. That's all going to have to come away, by the way, I think, to get in. But if we give this thing some power like that and switch it on here, like that, that turns around there, of course, quite well. But switching to 7.5. And as you can see there, I can see, hope you can, that is now stopped completely, yeah, like that, yeah. Interestingly with this, actually, it was made to think that there's a fault somewhere with the mechanics of this lovely machine, is that it doesn't go that way, but it does go that way. Now that spool does that motor does two things. It covers the wind and it also covers a little bit for the take up, so maybe that's natural, maybe it's not. So I've got a manual here. I really must read it really, but not for now. I'm not going to do that because I'm stupid basically. But there you are, and it's a working machine, as you can see there, as far as that's concerned. Now that's going, by the way, there. If I put it back on again like that, put it back on, like that, you see, that's going. And that is still going. I can prove that by switching the power off here, and it slows down. So we know therefore that motor is not being held towards stalling, otherwise that would stop. So the motor run cap and the motors are all okay on this, which is a good thing. Now, earlier on I did mention about the TD1 chassis Ferguson. I think it's a similar problem in here, because this here, I don't know where it goes as yet. That's what we're trying to find out. So I will try and get this out if I can, far enough for me to have a look inside and see what it is that's making it do what it does and not doing what it should do. Again, I can't see straight away an easy way to bring that off, so I will try, and yes, I will actually read the manual, disassembly instructions, and see if that gives us any clues. This machine is possibly like the 70s paragraphs, where remember they had 3 wheels underneath, 1 for each speed. This one has 2, and although the 3 3/4 one was fine, the other one simply wasn't. This one, that's okay, that's 3 3/4, you see there, and that is 7.5. But that doesn't matter. So saying it now, and the other one seems to somebody to have thought nipped out of place, as it were. Don't know how, but I'll put it back in and where it should be, and it seems to be working rather well. Again, I don't know why, but what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave it for a bit, go back and forth on the speed and off and on and everything else over the next 24 hours or so, and if it always works okay, then hopefully I won't have to take all this off, and then at that point I can fire a speaker on it after changing 1 or 2 of these capacitors under here. That one for definite, that one, and under here of course is the ready capacitor, the grid cap on. Excuse me, the grid cap on the ECL86, which might be okay, might not. On tape record, generally speaking, it doesn't do quite as much damage because there's another one in the way, as it were. So generally speaking, they don't do the same as before. Look at the circuit here. Let's have a camera in a minute. I think I really had better change it, hadn't I? So I will do that. Now, in valve technology, there are certain things you have to remember. One of them, as we know, is what's known as that capacitor, which in this stage is capacitor 25. It's there on the circuit. See? C25, it's there. If that goes high, goes leaky, DC goes where it shouldn't on the valve, right, for the first bit of the 8-pole pentode section. And on ECL86s like this one, they don't like it. They really don't. And they're expensive now, those, and they're also a little bit prone to it. So take that out, and voltages that were low came back to normal. Okay. Now, therefore, I found there were two capacitors in this. One of them across the resistor on the trial stage, and this one I'm fitting in now is the resistor in question. Now, with the resistor in question in the circuit, it will hold this at the correct value, I hope. Yeah. If it doesn't, that resistor, get the capacitor, go to deck from the cathode. They're okay, I've checked them. Ours are the capacitors and the resistors here. I'm not too sure about the rectifier here. Well, I've left it for now. But really got to look after these, because these are now getting expensive. So now, yeah, on the circuit it doesn't tell you component values or where the components are. Seriously. And when this happens, yeah, you've got to use not your imagination but your cunning to find out where things go. And if you want to know what pins what in a valve, there's a site called the Valve Museum, which I use, and that will tell you those. And so this capacitor, the upgrade capacitor, goes between pins 8 and 9 here. Yes, yeah. So we're going to put that in, and then of course I'll measure voltages again, put that back in, let it warm up and see if it gets any better or any worse. If it doesn't, well, it's not too bad. I'll leave that in. If it does, then oh dear, basically. I've got one, I've wanted two, but you know, they're not the easiest valves to get hold of. New, and the Mullard one in particular, are a little bit expensive, so we've got to be careful with them. We have. I know all our hacker users they have them. That's neither here nor there. But also, there's Mullard, there's Mazda. I think there's the broader one, Telefunken, and a lot of the Polish and Eastern European sets in the 60s use them as well. So they are about, but they're not cheap. So I'll put this one back in properly, then we'll see what happens. I know we've got two capacitors changed on this ECL86, so it's a trial pentode. So let's look at a few voltages. So first of all, on the anode of the pentode section, it's now up in value, as you can see there, to 256 volts, which is not too far off. Okay. So that's looking something like okay. The cathode version, however, the cathode here, is now at pretty much spot on there at 8 volts. So that's improved that a hell of a lot. And finally, I think it's this one here. Okay, not that one then. No? Okay. Well, that one, that should be at something like 200, like 200 volts as well. So, is that anywhere else, I wonder? That is not right. That is not right. Look at the circuit here again, you see. No, I'll just stand it up so you can see. Any pencil circuit has the mains voltage on the anode and the second cathode. It doesn't seem to be on the second cathode. So I'll have to have a look at that and find out why that should be. It might just be meant to be this pin here. I'll just check that and see. Might be there. Might be me that's got my wires crossed, which does happen. Every engineer does it, by the way, even me. So we'll see what happens. So that goes back on there like that. That goes there. And what is there on there? 266. That's okay. So therefore, we know that the voltages on that are rather closer to what they should be, which is nice to know. Actually, it doesn't actually specify voltage for there actually, but it looks to be okay-ish, you know, as in that voltage on the cathode has come down to where it should be, and that was gone up, all because of one capacitor, which is this one here. Amazing, isn't it? One component does all that. So now let's have a look and see what else we've got to do on this thing before we give it some give it its first test. There are some capacitors back here which I really think I ought to change. So I'll look at those and see if I've got them in. Right, all the capacitors on the HT line have been changed. So now if we power it and hope for the best here, if we can. And that says the interesting, didn't it? Okay. No, what went bang? What went bang? Okay, fine. Right. Probably a fuse or two, but you know. Something went whack then, didn't it? Something went whack there. Okay, not to worry. These things happen, of course. And so the first thing we'll do is I'll check all the various fuses. This one, this one is probably not the one that's supposed to change and the blow. But we'll check it already. That one's okay, fine, okay, fine. Okay, right, okay. Now, the lead is okay. This did. I wasn't high enough voltage, so I filled one of those in. But it's only magic eye, so I'm not too fussed about that right now. But the power supply side of it, as you can see in the circuit here, was low all around this valve here, yeah? And here too. And that is because of that resistor there, R14, which is this one, R44, which is this one here. Now, if I was to go across it like that, it should be 47k. But as we'll see in a second here, it certainly is not. The reason not onto itself, it isn't. $60, so that's well out of spec. Now, that one means that the voltages on the second half of this valve here, ECC81, and this valve here will be low, which will mean low gain on play and record. Now, in the beginning I noticed it was quiet. This is probably why. We're almost ready to go and try this. I've changed that resistor there, 100k. That resistor there, 47k, that was well out, as was that one actually. That one seems alright, so I've left it. Captured back in place. So now, let's turn the thing over and see what happens when I attach the speaker and some music to it by tape and see what happens. This is the time when I hope to God we don't get another loud bang from it. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. On it goes there, switch it to play and see what happens. Speaker switched on, the speaker is connected to it, well a speaker is connected to it, and we'll see what happens. Well, that did. But no else. Not a lot on the back of the heads either, is there? Oh dear. I should record. Let it go back to play and try it again. And that does now, does it? Absolutely diddly squat does that. But here's the tape on both speeds now, as you can see. Well, that's just about it. And of course, the crackle on there. So we've got a fair way to go, I think, with this one. So to find out, first of all, I beg your pardon, sir. We need to find out exactly why it's not doing what it should. Now, this is a 2-track machine. And it goes through switching to valve 1, which is an EF86, which has got a voltage on it. I know because I saw it, but no further. So if I was need to plug it in and let it let's hit play again and see what happens. Doesn't say a lot that does it? Does that one? Very fine bit of noise on the head, but nothing spectacular, and that's worrying too. So now I've got the power supply right and the motors right. We've got to look now at why it isn't playing anymore, because it did before. Now what have I changed and why will it not do anything it should do? That's the question we now have to ask of the machine and ourselves. So off they go again, like that, and I'll put the machine up on its end, and I'll have a look underneath and see where it's doing what it should be doing and why it's not doing it. Okay, I think it's time now for the some serious fault finding here. When a problem like this occurs, there are a number of things it could be. First of all, I've changed the resistors along here, so let's see if they're okay. So we'll see what there is first of all there. And that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Coming over here. That's okay, I think. And it's the other side okay, which is here. Yeah, so that's okay. And that is, looks like it's okay. So therefore, we know it's got that far. Now, looking at the circuit diagram for this part of the unit here, AF86 is a pentode, and therefore it has two inputs as every pentode does. And so let's have a look and see if it's got something on them both, shall we? Nothing. Aha. Aha, right, okay. Right, well that's interesting, isn't it? So it looks like it's here. So we'll just stitch that up and take it from there. So the power is now off to this, because I don't like soldering with this power to unit for many obvious reasons. So we'll just put that back onto there. I'm not sure which one it is, because as I've said, there's two on a pentode, two inputs on a pentode, but we'll see soon. Let's go off again that. We'll see soon enough which one it is, you know, so at some point we will be able to sort out what's going on here. Putting that right did absolutely nothing, by the way, so yeah. Anyway, with that in mind, we've got to do a bit of basic fault finding. We've got to find it where it's going. Now this trick I'm going to show you is perfectly safe as long as you don't put two hands into the unit at one time and you're careful where you put your screwdriver. So let's go. Okay, now the EC86 here it comes out down here, and so something like there, when it's warmed up, there should be some noise of some kind, which, as you can hear, there is. You got it? Okay, now that now goes up here to here. Again, I can hear it, I don't know if you can, but it's there. But not there. Okay, so that's a suspect, that straight away. Now, this diagram I have here is not complete. Excellent diagram this, isn't it? So, going online, again, having a look round. We'll probably bet that, by the way. There are in fact two stages of ECC81, which is a low version of the ECC83. Why I use one of those in here, I don't really know, but they have, so yeah. Now, so up to volume control, and then it's okay. Now from there, it goes to C12, and so the next place we'll look is pin 7 of the ECC81, which should have something on it. If it doesn't, even if it does, I'll quick look at that resistor. Now, as regards to its value, red, yellow, which is something like 22k. But in this case, it seems to be a little bit like it should be something else. So look at the circuit diagram again, having a quick look on here. Yeah. And the right bit circuit. 220k. The one end of that goes to capacitor as well, so we'll check that as well. So now first of all, we go from there to there across that resistor and see what we get. Rather a lot more than 220k anyway. So switch it down to 2, and yeah, that's interesting. That I think we'll have a quick look at that. Now, in this situation, another thing that's worth doing is looking at it the other way around as well, because sometimes something in the way. And so I'll have a quick look at that as well. But obviously something is getting through for some reason, and the capacitor as well, which probably goes to deck. So, but these Phillips capacitors are called these Moseals. They rarely fail, but they are starting to. So it's worth checking that as well. Okay, but I think then up next is pin 7 of the ECC81. That is after the first stage of amplification in this. You know, one thing that happens in this tree quite often, and everybody's done it, and so I'm not going to hold my hand up and deny it. Everybody who's done this sort of work has done it, and that is one wire in the wrong place can lead you well and truly up the garden path. I thought it was this resistor, it wasn't. The volume control here made a noise, yeah, up to here, but no further. Now, on these particular units, the capacitors link it to the deck. There's really, and there's these two as well, which I've changed from these. Yeah. So guess what I do? I put this one in the wrong place. So therefore it was actually effing the anode of this valve, the EF86. So no audio is getting through at all. None. If I touch the valve, it will be nothing. If I switch it on now and wait for it to warm up, it will in a minute, I'm sure. By the way, this by the way, be very careful with doing this, but it's a very good way of sort of finding a problem out. That's okay there. And now it's okay there as well. Before it wasn't. And so round here it's making noises as well. So what that tells us is that it simply does everything it's supposed to. So now, while I've got, thank you very much. Yeah, while I've got apart, the whole thing I've got to deal with here, if I can get to it, is the brakes, because there are no brakes on either of the two spindles, nothing at all. Now, this happens in this case probably because again, like everything else, it's frozen on time. So what I'll do now, I'll look underneath and I'll find out exactly how it operates, why it doesn't operate, and loosen it. That should give us again the braking. So after that, I'll turn the thing over and see. You know, the braking right under here, like that. It's just under here. I'll turn it round so you can see, if I can. Braking on tape recorders is, as you know, very important, especially in this case, because wheels can fly off this and all sorts. As I said before, I once had a set which almost broke the same barrier. The brakes are switched on and off by this here to there, you see, and that on the see there, you see. Now that was coming off there, it's sliding back down, and when it goes back down and stays back down, the brakes don't come on. So what I've done is I've bent this slightly further that way, and I'm going to go a little bit further with it as well, because this here and this join to the brakes underneath here, which are a bit hard to get at, although I've got in and all my two things. So really the problem is here. You see? Now it's on, now it's on, now it's on, and now the brakes are on, you see. And so really we need to look very closely at that there, because that is a problem. That little problem there is what's caused the brakes not to come on. So I'll take it around a little bit more, like that. And I think that will do it. Okay, so there you are. Now, with it like that, the spools are free. Yeah. With it pressed and stopped like that now, they are actually held solid. So it is that there. Simple thing, but cause all that trouble. So it's nothing to look for on these machines, is that. Okay. Now, I think at this stage we might actually now put it back on its front, give it a tape and see if it's going to work again. Just in case it is, you know. Here is the test to end all tests. Press forward, that's fine. Cross rewind, that's fine, and play. Bit quiet, but I noticed that if my mobile phone comes near the pickup stage, exactly, so this appears to be a low level recorded tape. Now at this point we know it's doing, we've got audio through, we've got the brakes sorted. Oh dear. Right, okay. We're not home yet, are we? Never mind. These things happen to all of us, including me, so let's just see very quickly what happens if I switch it to record. Record on these, that goes down, and oh dear, that immediately goes off as well. So one does wonder. That's gone back its own accord. So that goes down like that. That goes across like that. Hold it like that and press that down, and see what's. And it doesn't seem to want to, does it? And that's back on straight away. Right, okay. Okay, right, okay, well, obviously something is not entirely quite right there. That's pretty obvious to anybody who's listened to this machine, but doing something. Again, I'll try putting it into record again. Like that. That's off, which it shouldn't be. So now, if we now stop it like that, and that goes back. Right, okay. Doesn't do anything, does it? Okay, not to worry. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Oh, slowly but unsurely in my case. So what I'll do, I'll wind the tape off completely. Like that. And we'll have to go back underneath and find out what's going on here. By the way, the capstan wheel here, by the way, I've got something for that, so that is not the problem that you may think it is. So there you are. So that comes off. That comes off. That comes out. I beg your pardon, sir. I will have a look underneath and find out what else is making it do such interesting things. We'll start with the recording eye and the switching. First of all, that's the first place we'll be. So on these, the switching S4. Yeah. Now that doesn't. Interesting thing here that I don't seem to see exactly. Right, I've got the circuit here. I'll just put it up so you can have a look and see if you can find out what's going on here, because I'm not so sure I can. I'll switch it back on again, and the first thing I'm going to find out is when it goes to record, does the valve heaters, does the heater stay up on that valve? Because if it doesn't, and it does, okay, we know therefore that this valve is obviously, thank you very much, yes, obviously losing HT. Yeah, the HT on this comes off the top railing. That shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, yeah. Right, on the screen there we can see the basic circuit diagram of the EM87, I think it is in this one, yeah. Now on playback it sits quite happily and comes up fine, okay, there's no problem there. But on record it disappears. Now it shouldn't be doing that because it goes straight to the HT line. Now for that reason one wonders if the HT line is getting lost on record. If this is the case there, then one wonders precisely where it is leaving us, because it shouldn't be doing, basically. Yeah, the other side, by the way, at the top here, again, there doesn't seem to be any switch on it at all. So therefore, somewhere on this circuit, it is losing it, and we can't quite see how as of yet. Yeah. Now, suppose switch 3 there could be grounding it, but I don't see that could. That is the trial side of it. These, they have a trial in them as well. That's the trial side there, and that's the other side there. So I doubt that will cause that problem, but we'll check it anyway. Alright, well, let's have a look at this magic eye, shall we? Now, the HT is on the red pin, and as you can see there, it's 240 volts. Okay. Now, when I go to record, like so, like that, you see, it is now considerably less, as you can see there. You know, it's considerably less. But when I do that and get it back again like that, obviously it lights up and goes green again. So therefore there is no HT on that, and it's coming from down below. Now I've also tried switching it to record with the tape in it, and it doesn't do anything. Okay, so for that reason, somewhere in this machine there's a problem, probably with the switching. So something else has happened to this, as you probably, I'll look at that, looking at that as well, by the way. So it sounds like I'm going to have to carry that. Switch to playback, and of course the HT is at the moment normal. The valve is lit up, and it should work. Should, because down here it goes to switch 4 up here, and it goes down to here. So there might not be anything down here at the moment because it's not switched in. So at that point we that's okay, yeah, okay. And down here that's okay, obviously. So now I'm going to switch it into record, which is not easy with one on, but there you go. Hang on, I'll do it and come back to you. Now when a tape recorder loses the HT when switching to record, there's one extra valve on this one which comes to play only on record. It's an ECC82 which I've taken out, it's here. By the way, the EM87 is okay, I checked with that off as well. And it's this stage here, which is the brass erase oscillator stage. So with that out, let's see what happens to the HT. This should be very, very, very interesting. And it is very interesting because that doesn't bring the HT up at all with that missing. That doesn't bring the HT up at all, that. So off it goes again, and we'll obviously what else is it likely to be. Now again, with something like this, it could be it could be anything, could that, you know. It is off, by the way, and so I think therefore that one some other really old capacitors in this, which I'm going to take out the circuit one at a time and see if one of those brings it up again on record, because it might be going to deck through that one or that one. Not unlikely to be one of these, but certainly two here which do need to be changed. So I'm going to cut them out of circuit and see what happens. So one at a time. So circuit is here, and one of them so that was out of circuit, and we'll see what happens now with the record. Nothing. Okay, so that one's not the problem. Well, these are going to get changed, and so we'll take that one off and see what it's like now. Something made a noise there, very quietly, but with those out of the circuit. Also, this is new, so this one, again, it could be there, but I'll just put that one out. And we'll see what happens now. Okay, well that's not doing very much either, is it? So with this out of circuit, there should not be any voltages at the moment on here, but I will very quickly check from here. So so it's not there, so it won't be down here either. But again, I'll check and I'll make sure, because why not? Nothing, even less. Sod all, and sod all. That's getting hot as well. The main transformer is getting hot as well, which might possibly be the problem. Yeah, yeah, that's I think that is I think we better have a look at that mains transformer circuit, because I'm not terribly happy with that. So I'll go back to play, and we'll see if it. Right, I'll think about this again, I think. Yeah. Right, okay, well, it doesn't seem to be doing much on playback. I could notate on. But the HT is up because the green light up there is on. And this is cooling down, but it got really, really hot on record, did that. So, yeah. Okay, well, I think the next thing we do, therefore, is switch it off like that. I guess I will look into that at some point, and we'll find out precisely somewhere. Okay, what I'll do, I'll put all of this out of circuit here, and then we'll see what happens then. With this section here, the oscillator out of circuit, we didn't lose the HT on record. I cut it here and it went away. Now going down here, there was a 1k resistor which had rather shot itself in the foot, as it were, and it came apart in my hand literally. If a part of that has gone to deck somehow, then it would do it. So also now, therefore, I've checked this as well. This is okay, by the way. I've checked it. I've checked both sides of it, because if you look at the circuit diagram, that is on the input there, and the two inputs both have current on them, so that's okay. The other side of it goes one end to deck and one end goes to the head with its switch to record. So that again is fine. So now we've got to put some new components in and see if it improves matters. Whether it'll improve the noise the speaker makes, I don't know, but hopefully with all this sorted here, the HT will be back up where it was, not possibly a little bit higher, and we'll take it from there. That 1k resistor has been changed. Everything else has been sorted out down here as well. These resistors that we're putting, the capacitor that we're putting, have been changed as well. So ready to go with it, and let's see what happens now if I switch on and switch it to record. Which I could do fine apart from on camera. Like that. And as you can maybe see there, the green light stays on. So that is doing something right now anyway. But unfortunately in this particular case there's other things too which could be a problem. So one of them actually is the fact that this tape recorder has a problem when it's switched off, which I've already seen actually. It farts, so never got to find out why it farts on it. It farts and switch off, because that is slightly embarrassing. It looks like I found it, although it was a real bugger to find actually. One of these coax wires here was actually the earth was shorting somewhere it shouldn't have been. So I took it off and now it appears to be okay. On full blast there, so when the valves warm up we should hear something here. We do. Okay, yeah. Now at this point, therefore, we now kill the mains and nothing happens at all. It doesn't do anything. That's so crackly, but I'll come to that. Next thing, with it the other way, nothing. With it this way as well. There's nothing again, but they were with me here, so don't worry about that. So it looks like it was this wire here. Now, the earth side of it is connected at this end, so I've taken it off down here, and it seems to have cured it. What I'll do is I'll leave it now till tomorrow, and we'll try it again. If that's the case, then I'll put the EF86 circuit back in over here, and also put the ECC82 back in, and we'll give it a go and see what happens now. Well, now if I switch on this machine, let's see what it does, shall we? Speakers connected okay. Let's see what it does and says, shall we? Somewhat there. That is again very quiet. Quiet and distorted. Okay, fair enough. That's somewhere, I suppose. Now, if I was to go to record mode, like that, first of all, you notice straight away that it doesn't actually go off anymore. So if I now switch it to record, which is a bit difficult with my situation, but we manage. Now that goes like that, and then like that. Give it a turn or two. That's my phone, by the way. By the way, another thing with these, by the way, just for the record, it's very hard to get the oscillator valve back in, very hard. I've got it in, but it gives me trouble, right, so. That sounds to me like it didn't erase. No erase. Okay, fine, fair enough. Well, first of all, the oscillator on these only runs on record, so it won't be using playback at all. So therefore, the first thing we've got to do is look at the playback side of it and find out why it's so low. I also need this center again around this tone control. Listen to that. So something around there which we need to address. And also with other tape too, by the way, it also tends to be somewhat low. So I don't know quite what that is, but we'll see soon enough. I'll check very quickly and see if that speaker and our system works okay. But even with that, it should be louder than that. It should definitely be louder than that. So you see, so something something not quite right there. So where it is I don't know, but I have to check for distortion now on that. My feeling is another capacitor somewhere based on experience on these things, but we don't know until we look further, do we? So we've got somewhere with it, but I've stopped it from farting. Again, that is due, I think, to this control as well. So look at the circuit here, get the right one. Tone control is before, there's the circuit, the tone control is before the ECL86 triode, as we can see there. So one wonders if that capacitor has gone a little bit doolally. It does actually vary the tone, but nothing else. So I think the next thing we do here is check the voltages again on all the valves on the top side of it and see which one, which work and which don't. That's the next thing. So we have to go underneath again and see why it's so quite distorted. And I'm sorry, but I think there's something with that tone control. I don't know what it'll be, but I think there's something with that. So so yeah, so we've now got to look and see what we can see. Cathode voltages, anode voltages, and looks like tell us a hell of a lot. And so let's see what tales it can tell us. Well, this tape recorder has now come to a halt. The problem is that is a tape head for an R82, I think this one is, and it is reading a lot more than a tape head should, and what's more, the front is quite scratched, so that is dead. And also another check you can do, by the way, if I just wait for it to warm up, is put your finger on there, and once it's warmed up, come on, that's two with valves, you see. That is very loud. That is loud, but the output from the head is very, very quiet because of its resistance. So that head is going to leave us. So until I can get a new head for it, there's not really a lot more I can do. So I'm afraid this one's going to go on hold. So I know what's wrong with it, and we'll come back to it when I have it sorted. So until then, take care. And Steve at Steve's Vintage Radio Long Stay Workshop is putting this long stay tape recorder on the back burner while I look for a new head. Bye bye. Take care and see you soon.